us some insight as to where Rory Sloane's at, the ability to play and the ability to be selected?
Yeah, look, he had a light run this morning, and we'll finalise it this afternoon.
One of the ones where you pick him and give him until tomorrow, as you've done a few times throughout the year?
Yeah, we'll weigh that up in terms of what's probably what's best for him, best for the team as well, and we'll get organised for Thursday night.
Has he got a play tomorrow?
Oh, that's part of the discussion, yeah.
So yeah, he has or he hasn't got a chance?
Well, it's a discussion around whether he's fit and available, to be honest. Yep.
What do you need to see, Don? Or what needs to happen in the next sort of 12 hours?
Oh, he'll need to do a fair bit more than he did this morning. So we'll wait till when the team's finalised.
Is that just contact stuff?
Yeah, well, he was just able to do some running this morning. Now he's got a fair bit of ground to cover.
So it could be a case of even if you go down there, you leave it until 90 minutes before.
Possibly, yeah, we'll see. We've got to just assess exactly what his chances are of playing and make the decision from there.
So I'm just listening to you there. It sounds like you've got every base covered there. Does that suggest that it's more leaning that he doesn't play because you haven't got clarity?
Well, that's something we'll weigh up. We're going to weigh up. It's also not only what's best, what his capacity is based on the surgery, but also what's best for him and best for the team as well. You know, those things all come into account. We'd look at it from a viewpoint of what's best for his, obviously, short term, and we'd love to have him playing tomorrow night. But if that's going to have impact for him longer term, or impact his ability to perform the level he wants to, then we'll make a smart decision.
Is this one of those moments that makes and breaks your thinking as a coach, because you've got to make the final call here, and bearing in mind finals, people look on selection more harshly because of the consequences?
Oh no, look, with all these ones, I always take the views of the people who are employed basically to give the advice and the recommendations, and that in this case is going to be surgeons and doctors and people who know far more about that than I do. Players want to play, and sometimes we've got to look at what's best for them and what they're capable of and those sorts of things, and that's what we'll weigh up and then make that decision.
Are you confident you've got replacements that feels you can't obviously match someone of his calibre, the replacement that might come in?
Yeah, well, we've got Hughie Greenwood didn't play in the last game, who would be someone that we'd look at to come in and play that role. So, and we've always said throughout the season that we're not a side that's going to rely on one individual. So if Rory doesn't end up playing, we're very confident with the guys we've got who've come in and they're in some good form.
If he gets the medical all clear, then from there, what's the process? Is it just a matter of seeing?
Well, he's got to be comfortable. Is the reality. He's got to be comfortable, and we've got to be comfortable that he's capable of doing the things he needs to do to play a game of finals AFL footy.
It's also a little bit more concerning because he plays in a really hot contested area where he could get worked over a fair bit in that area. So it's more.
I think how he plays is much, and the style of game we know we're going to confront. So as I said, we'll weigh all that up and we'll make what we think's a smart decision.
How does the style of the game, especially like wet contested footy finals, does Scott Thompson come to calculations?
Yeah, potentially. He's certainly a guy that we know has got the experience and has got is really strong in those conditions you mentioned. So his certainly name's been thrown up at match committee.
No dramas.
It's really difficult this because we obviously haven't finalised our side, which comes out this afternoon, so it makes it difficult.
But Parlier and Walker, no doubts about them.
Yeah, no, they both trained fully, so they'll play.
Don, in terms of what happened in those last 2 weeks, and they're varying games, Sydney and West Coast, is there anything you take from them that has made you rethink some things that are appropriate in finals?
No. I reckon the Sydney game we probably reflected on that, and as much as I said we were disappointed to lose that game, we probably walked away comfortable that the way we want to play and the style of play that we've worked on in the last couple of seasons under sort of my leadership will hold up, and that was some positive affirmation for the group. And probably last week was a reminder of if we go away from some of the things that we know A, create winning, and B, makes a good team, that it's going to cause us some problems. So that's probably what we took away from those 2 games.
So in view of all that's happened in the past 4 weeks, you're still confident it is an ideal lead into it?
Yeah, I think, as I said previously, compared to last season where we had some easier games going in, our last 8 weeks have been really solid in what has been a super even year and competition. So I think our prep sets us up for what's coming up ahead.
The other difficult one is Sam Jacobs. What sort of discussions, and you talk about headspace.
Yeah.
Where's that at with him? Because it's not the easiest one to read that one.
No. Look, and I pretty much I'm speaking to Sam on a fairly regular basis around how he's travelling. And he's going to play and is in a really good space to be able to do that. He understands, and it's a tragic set of events that he's dealing with, in him and his family and so forth. But he made a pretty early decision that he was keen to play, and he's worked himself into a mind frame whereby he's not only ready to play but to perform. And knowing Sam, and he gives him a little extra incentive for tomorrow night, and I'm certain the guys, as they have, will get around him and support him, and he's ready to go.
The weather, Donald, looks like we might have a little bit around. Does it give you a bit of confidence that you perform very well in the wet?
Oh, look, that helps us a little bit, but I mean, the weather, the final, it's going to be a contested game. That's what we're prepared for, and that's what we've been working towards. So, we expect a fired-up GWS. We expect to come out and play, and it'll be one of those games which is what you want in finals is going to be that contested stuff. If the conditions are a bit slippery and wet, it's just going to add to that. It'll mean the premium on ball take and field position will be higher.
You plan as if Steve Johnson won't be there tomorrow night?
Well, we've sort of looked at both alternatives, but really that's the decision for GWS.
Does the opening round win have any relevance now?
It's a fair while ago. There were probably some things in that game that we thought we did particularly well, and I'm sure there's, as I always say, there's things you learn from every game. There's some things we learnt that game, but I'm sure there's some things that GWS learnt. So, but it is 20 odd weeks ago, so it's probably hard to draw that as a form line. And both teams have changed a fair bit over that time, both in personnel and, as I said, in terms of style. So even looking at an analysis of the oppo from round one to what we looked and showed the players this week, there's been some changes from GWS.
Don, that thought of Josh Jenkins this morning that you have to be punched before you get punched in final series. Do you note that with this group, that the lessons of the past 3 years are really hitting onto them this time out?
Well, I think it's, as I always say, it's always learning, and that's what finals experiences allows you to do. Now, sometimes you're ready for that, and some players are ready for that. Other players that they've now been exposed to it, and you even go back to I think 2012 when some of those guys first played in finals through the last 2 seasons. What it exposes them to is the level, the expectation around what finals requires, and it's not fundamentally different to what the home and away. It just goes to a little slightly higher intensity, and the premium on scoring, drops away. And that's why I think, importantly for us, in some of the games we've played later in the season, we've been able to win in different ways, and not necessarily rely on the scoreboard ticking over. So, those things there. And you can't. It's always great. They say you can't hand people experience. They've actually got to earn it. And our guys have had that in the last couple of seasons. So they come in here with a real clear picture of what creates winning for us and how we've built a style of play that we think can stand up in finals footy, but they've also understood themselves personally as to how they prepare and how they actually then execute on game day.
So what's your read on their mentality? You talk about things like body language and eagerness to play, but what's your read on their mentality as a group?
The players group? Well, I think they've just matured. I've sort of said that throughout the year. I think they've matured around, and that's what happens as players as well. You sort of go, well, I'm playing regularly. There's almost a point where it goes, I want a bit more. And that more is to actually have some success in finals, and that's the point we find ourselves at, and that's why it's exciting. It's this time of year is why you play, and we've spent a whole season getting to this point, and now we start the next phase, and we get the opportunity to find out exactly how much improvement we've made, and that starts Thursday night.
Have the last 2 losses in the regular season, have they meant anything at all, or is it a whole new ballgame now we're in finals?
Well, for me, it's a whole new ballgame. And as I said, earlier in the week, I think it was, there's 2 points difference between us and GWS. The comp's been so even all year, and we clearly understand that, come finals time, the premium on the prize is big, and the premium on the contest becomes higher, and that's what finals footy is about. Always has been, and probably always will be. So we head in with that knowledge.
So where do you think they can grow in the next month?
Well, they'll grow through the experience of playing. And applying some of the things that we've worked on as a group. And that's both the physical side of it, that's both the mental side of it, and that's the game style. That's the beauty of any major sport. You get the opportunity to test yourself against the best teams, and that's really what AFL Finals is about. And through that, they'll learn a bit about themselves. We'll learn about our style, and but we go into it with a high degree of confidence because the previous 22 weeks have earned us top spot, have earned us a home final, and now it's about taking that opportunity.
Do you feel more comfortable with yourself than having gone through the finals last year and better prepared, I guess, for this time around?
Yeah, I don't think you ever really feel comfortable. I think what you feel is like the group is capable. And ultimately, that's what we tested against, and understand we need to still bring, at finals you need to bring your best. You can't second guess yourself. You've got to come and play in a bold, aggressive fashion, and you've got to demand it of the opposition to match that, and that's the space we enter now.
You allowed yourself to personally get excited about it, right?
Yeah, well, I'm excited about it. I might not show it outwardly, but this is why we do what we do. Like, if we're running laps at Westlakes in November and doing time trials and other things, it's all based around getting to this point. And now, that's what it's about. As I said, for individuals and teams, it's about now. This month is what creates great players, great teams come out of this month, and that's the opportunity that presents. And the uncertainty sits there, so we don't know. But that's the beauty of it. That's the same with any major sport. As I think I said to someone, it's a bit like, you don't know until you're on the back nine on a Sunday in a golf tournament as to how you handle it. That's the reality. And we're now in a space where we're going, right, we're in good form. We played some good footy. We're ready. And now it's about performing.
Don, where do you see the biggest strengths of the Giants?
Well, they've got strengths across the line. I think their midfield clearly is high quality with the names they've got going through there. They've got some dangerous forwards when you talk about high half forwards like Toby Green and Devon Smith, and then their talls are with Patton and Cameron and Lobb can take some clunks. And down back they've got some good ball runners and users. They've got strengths in each line. They're a highly contested team, and that's why they're in the top four.